For over 80 years, one currency has ruled the world, the US dollar. It backed oil. It backed gold. It financed wars, built empires, and shaped the global economy. But how did a single currency come to dominate the entire world? It all began in 1944, at a quiet mountain resort in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. As World War II neared its end, 44 allied nations gathered to rebuild global finance. The result was historic. Every major currency was pegged to the US dollar, and the dollar itself was backed by gold at $35 an ounce. America had the largest gold reserves, unmatched industrial power, and a stable political system. So the world trusted the dollar, and it became the backbone of global trade. But that trust would soon be tested. In 1971, President Richard Nixon ended the dollar's convertibility to gold, breaking the promise that had anchored the world economy. Markets panicked. Confidence wavered. But America had a plan. To keep the dollar alive, the U.S. made a secret deal with Saudi Arabia. All oil sales would be priced in U.S. dollars, in exchange for U.S. military protection and economic support. This was the birth of the petrodollar system. And it changed everything, because every country needed oil. They also needed dollars. From that moment, dollar dominance wasn't just financial, it was strategic. Over time, the dollar became more than money. It became a weapon and a privilege. Countries borrowed in dollars. Trade was conducted in dollars. Central banks held dollars as reserves. This gave the U.S. an incredible advantage economists call exorbitant privilege. It meant America could borrow cheaply, spend freely, and import goods at lower prices, all because the world trusted the dollar. But as history shows, every empire built on trust eventually faces doubt. Today, that trust is fading. The U.S. national debt has soared past $37 trillion. Political gridlock threatens the country's credit rating, and Washington's use of the dollar as a political weapon has alarmed even its allies. When nations like Iran and Russia were cut off from the global banking system, others took notice. They realized the U.S. could freeze entire economies with a few keystrokes. That fear is now driving a quiet but powerful movement: de-dollarization. Leading that movement are the BRICS nations: Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Together, they represent more than 40% of the world's population and a quarter of global GDP. They've started trading in their own currencies, bypassing the dollar entirely. China bought oil from Saudi Arabia using yuan. India paid for energy imports in rupees. Even France, a U.S. ally, completed an LNG deal in Chinese yuan. Step by step, the world is building a parallel financial system, one where the dollar is no longer king. Central banks are quietly preparing for a post-dollar future. Instead of buying U.S. treasuries, they're buying gold, and in record amounts. Why? Because gold can't be frozen, it can't be sanctioned, and it doesn't depend on any one country's promise. In 2023, global gold purchases by central banks hit an all-time high, a clear sign that faith in the dollar is weakening. Technology is speeding up this transition. Over 100 countries are now developing central bank digital currencies, CBDCs, new programmable forms of money that don't need the dollar for international trade. China's digital yuan is already being used in cross-border transactions. And the BRICS bloc has even discussed creating a shared digital settlement currency, potentially backed by commodities. For now, these systems are still young, but their goal is clear: build a world where money flows without ever touching the U.S. financial system. If the dollar truly loses its global throne, the fallout would be massive. Countries holding U.S. debt could start selling their treasury bonds. Bond prices would crash, interest rates would spike, and borrowing in America would become painfully expensive. Imports would cost more. Inflation would rise, and the average American would feel it, from groceries to mortgages. The U.S. would also lose one of its greatest geopolitical weapons, the ability to control global finance. Despite all the challenges, The dollar still makes up about 59% of global reserves, more than double the euro and far ahead of the yuan. Why? Because the dollar remains liquid, trusted, and deeply integrated into the world economy. No other currency, not even the euro or the yuan, can fully replace it yet. The fall of the dollar might not come overnight, but the shift has already begun, slowly, quietly, and inevitably. For decades, the dollar's dominance seemed untouchable, but as nations diversify, digital currencies rise, and trust erodes, the balance of power is changing. We may be witnessing the start of a new era, one where no single currency rules them all.